Oh, better turn that vibe off. That was way too loud. No one will like that.
You got a message.
Freaking technology.
Dude, I fucking forgot about you got mail. That quote has become like super relevant now.
Right? Yeah. That's always
mail.
something else. That's actually something I'm always really interested in is the like tones, like alert tones and stuff that people use. There's actually really interesting science behind like they test like the crap out of them to see like which ones are the most like pleasing and enticing. Kind of the same thing.
Really?
It's kind of the same thing with video games. How they'll do like the sounds you make when you get a kill or when you unlock something, or et cetera, et cetera. It's supposed to like be like addicting and entice you to like keep playing and everything. I find that stuff really fascinating.
Psychoacoustics, which sounds insane, and that was a field of study that I was potentially looking at if I wanted to do more sound engineering kind of stuff.
No, it was wild. I remember how I got into read an article or saw a video about it or something, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's insane. And that's such a huge part of our lives now because we're, surrounded by technology and notifications of one degree or another, which I find
right. We're all connected to the goddamn cloud.
To the cloud, man. It's all in the cloud. You're the cloud. We are the cloud. I am the cloud.
Forevermore, forever changing the cloud.
Exactly. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome in, everybody.
Howdy.
This is just me and Nick here, recording the old Flick Your Bic podcast with Ben and Nick here on the Flick Your Bic podcast network. I'm Ben. He's Nick. We're recording, just like the old days. It's been good to catch up. I haven't talked for a while about many things, let alone the very exciting topics we're going to be covering today. But but Nick, as always, we must start the way we always start, except when I forget, which is not uncommon. But anyway, Nicholas, what have you been flicking your Bic to recently?
So, as you know, I'm big into fighting games in the FGC community.
Yes, you are.
So, it's kind of a roundabout way of me telling you this, but it'll make sense in a little bit. I believe April 24th, 24th to 25th, or maybe the 23rd. It's a couple days before my birthday. Mortal Kombat 11 comes out, which is super Nito Burrito. But one of the trailers that they came out with, I should actually give a little bit back premise to it. So kind of a rough outline plot of the story in MK11 is time travel. So a lot of the old school Mortal Kombat characters that have been there since like MK1, MK2, they are going to meet their previous selves, younger selves, since and now in the current timeline, like example, like Johnny Cage, he's like, I don't know, like in his 50s or 60s. So he's going to meet well, essentially, all the characters that are going to meet their
like Super
younger
Nintendo
selves,
version of themselves.
they're going to meet, more specifically, they're going to meet their 90s self, which is really freaking rad.
That's funny.
So, with that being said, NetherRealm Studio, the people that make Mortal Kombat games, they, a couple weeks ago, came out with a trailer that was just titled, I think, Generations, and they had like a couple gameplay shots of the game and whatnot, and a couple scenes, cutscenes and whatnot. The best part about the trailer, though, is the music, because they had two types of songs in the trailer. They were 90s hip hop and modern hip hop, which was friggin' dope if you like 90s hip hop. So that being said, the 90s, I don't listen to modern music, so I couldn't tell you what the 90s, or I mean the modern hip hop song was, but the 90s hip hop representation music for that trailer was Ice Cube's "Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself."
That's badass, dude.
Super fucking badass, and like it's really well edited. Like all like the beats go with like the punches and like getting hit and like just blood being spurted out everywhere. It's really well edited. So I've been listening to a lot of 90s hip hop. I know I said that rap and hip hop is for the winter, but with that trailer, it made me really want to listen to some hip hop. I never really listened to much of Ice Cube's earlier stuff, but I'm kind of delving into that. Along with I've been listening to a lot of NWA stuff. So I've been
love it.
It's funny. I a couple days ago I drove past the high school, and it's track and tennis season, so you have the students practicing. So here I am, just driving along, just like blaring "Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself," just showing these kids what's up for this old ass music.
What the real hippity hops are like. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. You gotta listen to The Chronic. That's widely considered the best album in that area. And then I like most of the West Coast stuff a little more than the East Coast stuff, but you can get your Biggie and your early Jay-Z and that sort of stuff too. But yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. Since I never drive anymore, I don't really listen to a whole lot of music like that, and I miss it. That's the only thing I miss about driving is blaring the tunes. But that's awesome.
Right, yeah, that's pretty much the only time I do listen to music. My commute's usually 35 to 40 minutes, so usually I just blare some music when I'm driving. But yeah, it's been a very fun trip down memory lane, which I don't have any memories of, so it's a weird process, but it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's always good to go back and see the kind of origins of different things and how it's progressed.
Oh, hell yeah. And even just I don't know if it's just that I don't really am a fan of modern music or I just like older stuff more, but goddamn, 90s hip hop was so fucking good.
Yeah.
I did not I didn't like the modern hip hop music they had in that Mortal Kombat 11 trailer. It's just kind of meh.
A lot of it's too I don't know what the word is. It's overproduced. I think a lot. It's like kind of a mumble rappy, which I don't like.
Yeah. In a weird way, it's like modern hip hop and rap seems like kind of it's more like a douchebaggy in your face versus like 90s hip hop. It's like I'm in your face because I'm a cold hard motherfucker kind of vibe.
Yeah, that is true. It was it was a little more real. Especially I saw a tweet the other day about rap beef back in the day. It's like, I'm gonna go kill you. Now it's like rappers subtweeting each other and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's a little different. But yeah, that's awesome. That sounds really fun. We need to go on a trip or something this weekend, and I need to blare some shit. That sounds great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that is a great one to be flicking it to there. For me, mine's kind of weird. What I've been really focusing on recently is now that it's warming up, it's starting to be concert season. It's starting to ramp up here.
Oh, yeah.
Here in the Front Range, and I have been constantly looking not only at what shows are coming, but also the different venues and just the different price points for different concerts and stuff. And I've just been really fascinated by it. However, I will say that the one thing I'm going to be shouting out is an app called SeatGeek. I don't know if anyone's ever used that. If you're looking for seats to things, it kind of they kind of collaborate a bunch of different ticket sellers, and they just show you on the app, and it's extremely easy to see if you're getting a good deal. It shows the venue, and their range is green, yellow, and red dots, and green dots the best deals, and yellow and red and so on. And it's been awesome. It's been really helpful to kind of see, hey, this and the other thing is they show you what is going to be around your area at whatever dates you select, so you can kind of see, oh, on this weekend we're free. Let's see what what shows are going to be going on. And
oh, that's nice. And, didn't know it did that.
Yeah, and it's especially nice for us because back where I grew up, Omaha and Lincoln, there's a very limited amount of concert venues. You got 3 or 4, and you keep track of those. You can basically keep track of what's going to be in town, and it's a little more complicated out here. And I'm glad I've been looking at it closer because I've missed some people that are going to be in town that I really like that I don't know if I would have seen until way later. And if you wait longer, it's usually more expensive, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, big fan of SeatGeek and just getting really excited for concert season. For example, we found out yesterday that Stevie Wonder is going to be at Red Rocks.
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, we're gonna do that one for sure.
I had a buddy of mine that went to see Elton John when he came into Omaha a couple months ago.
We wanted to go when he was in Denver, but it was ridiculously expensive. It was insane.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. We were sad because we
surprisingly people don't really want to come to Omaha or Des Moines.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them decide they either do Lincoln or Omaha, either
I see mostly Lincoln
or PBA,
if anything.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was very shocked about this. I'm going to a it's kind of a concert. It's Game Grumps Live. I guess they're doing a their last tour of Game Grumps Live for a while, and I was shocked to hear that they were coming to Des Moines, so I bought a ticket immediately.
Yeah, it's wild. There's a couple like YouTube podcast groups that do like tours and stuff, and one of my favorite ones was in Kansas City, but they weren't coming to Denver. I was like, wow, of course. I moved to a big city. They don't come to the one I'm in, but whatever. But there's a political podcast called Pod Save America that I really enjoy, and they're going to be in Denver, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, if you're out looking for stuff to do this summer, concerts are awesome, and especially if you're into bands that aren't super mainstream, they're actually quite affordable.
Right.
A lot of places people we're going to see are in like smaller venues, and I mean, some of the best concerts I've ever been to, I paid maybe $20-$30 for a ticket, which is not the norm if you're going to some bigger stuff. So yeah, it's a great pastime, and yeah, live music is the shit. And live podcasts, live whatever you enjoy is really cool. So you can see anything live, and also especially for smaller creators, it's more of a consistent way for them to make revenue. Yeah, they need it.
Yeah,
because
yeah, absolutely.
Making money over the internet is not the easiest thing ever.
Overall, it's just growth for them. Just amazing growth.
100%.
Yeah. Hashtag not sponsored by SeatGeek.
No, I'm not. We should do a fake ad though. If you're looking for seats, guys, SeatGeek collaborates all your different ticket buying options into one place. Find the best deal. Remember that. So guys, just so you know, that's SeatGeek.com/flickyourbic. 20% off your first ticket purchase. That's SeatGeek.com/flickyourbic. There you go. We should do fake ad reads every podcast now.
And if you retweet the episode on Twitter, you get a free puppy.
That's right. We'll find one for you. Yeah. We're gonna start doing that.
We don't know whose dog it is. No. It'll be yours though.
It's yours now. Sorry. No, we're gonna do fake ad reads for every podcast. This is really fun. I like it. And not even for companies, just like random stuff. Today's episode is sponsored by that morning pee that you have. When you wake up and you really gotta go and you rush out of bed and go pee and it's really relaxing and then you go back to sleep. Yeah, that's great. That's what we're sponsored by today. So next time you do that, think of the old Flick Your Bic podcast.
Oh shit,
man, that's a great idea. I love coming up with ideas live. That's great. That's what I like to hear. Collaborative process. That's awesome.
Dude, do you remember those really shitty commercials about do you have a great idea and you want to try to make this product and
patent your idea? Yeah.
The freaking commercial is like a lady with a metal basket that's just draped around her neck. That idea is awful.
Yeah, I love that's one thing I do miss about having because I haven't had cable in forever. When I go home, my family still has MediaCom, and you get the local commercials.
They have MediaCom?
Just the most, yeah, oh yeah.
What?
Yeah, just the most
wow.
Shitty, retarded, just the dumbest local commercials you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I miss them. Good times. Oh well, technology moves on, and just like we move on to our main focus of the podcast, and that is this upcoming month we have. April is coming, Nick, and with it April's here actually. It's the 4th. I don't know why I say coming. For some reason I still think it's March.
I know, me too.
Time is weird. Yeah. But anyway, it's April, and that means there are some big happenings coming down the stretch here in the pop culture sphere. We'll be talking about two main ones today. There are others as well. There's some big sports stuff too. I won't get into that. Today we're just going to focus on two I would say honestly, in the movie and TV realm, two of the biggest like must see events. I mean, of all time, dare I say it?
Yeah,
is that hyperbole? I don't think it is. Is it?
Those are events like people on the internet, like Reddit. That'll be like front page shit.
Oh God, yeah, it's gonna be insane. And I saw just today. I follow Alamo Drafthouse on Twitter, and they said so yesterday was the day before, where you could pre-sale for Avengers Endgame tickets. Became available. Said it was their highest, the most tickets they've sold in a day by like far. It was like almost double.
I'm not surprised
what it was before,
at all,
and I'm like, yeah, man, that's it's crazy. So let's start with that. Avengers Endgame. It's coming. So a little quick before we do that. Actually, let's talk quickly about Captain Marvel. I just saw it a couple days ago. And even more interesting thing about it, I watched the first Endgame trailer, and then I tried not to watch any of the other ones, just because I know I'm gonna see it. Like, why spoil anything? Actually, I will say the Disney products, they do a pretty good job of not spoiling things in their trailers. They put in stuff that's like not actually in the movie, which I appreciate, but still, I'm like, I don't want to risk it. I'm not gonna do it. But of course, what was the first trailer before Captain Marvel was, I don't know if it's the most recent, but the Avengers trailer, or it starts with like black and white, and Tony's like, God, it was like 13 years ago that I got out of that cave, and blah blah blah, and it shows like him and Cap back in the day. Yeah. So I saw that trailer, and I was just like, oh. I turned over to everyone. I said, I'm not ready. I need more time. I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. Tony's been the face of the MCU for 10 years now, and that will be ending.
One way or the other. Sad. One way or the other. Yeah. I think we're gonna see that end.
Because I'm pretty sure RDJ said he's done being Iron Man. Correct?
I don't know. It's from what I've seen, it's been really ambiguous. Just because I'm sure they're just trying not to
contracting and shit and stuff like that.
I know, like him, Chris Evans, a couple, like their contracts went up to this movie. And that's not to say that they couldn't live and like do like little cameos here and there, but this will definitely be the end of their focus, regardless if their characters die or not. Like the focus on them will officially move on. Which, was good. Everything's have to come to an end, and they've done a really good job of building up a roster behind them that can
absolutely
easily take over.
I cannot think of anyone that could play as Iron Man or Tony Stark. Yeah. I really can't.
People talking about recasting stuff, I think it's just stupid. Like that just doesn't make any sense. Maybe down the road.
Why would you even
want to? Exactly. Like a ways from now, like maybe, but yeah, no, I don't get that at all. But anyway, first quick talks on Captain Marvel. I saw it the other night. After walking out, I said, I called it just like a mid to like upper mid-tier Marvel movie. I enjoyed it.
I'm okay with that.
I liked the Kree Skrull kind of twist there. I thought that was really interesting. I like that Ben Mendelsohn was actually a good guy for once, which was really weird. I thought that was really funny.
It goes. I really freaking hate saying this nowadays, but like if you read the comics, going back to like that whole debacle, it doesn't really exactly plainly say like who's really in the right or the wrong between the Kree and the Skrull. Right. It's just perspective. Even in the comics, it's like perspective of who is the good guy. So I kind of like.
Well, it's life in general. It's clearly it's not always that black and white.
Yeah. Which because I freaking love the Skrulls, so I'm pretty happy they went with them.
I thought what they did was really cool, and it made sense in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because, like we saw in the movie, the Kree, specifically, oh God, what's his name? Dude with the hammer, Guardians of the Galaxy. Ronan. He was clearly not a good dude in Guardians, so I was like, okay, well, so that's kind of as it was going on. I was like, and they're talking to Ronan. I was like, well, he's a clear like psychopath. Like these guys can't be that good. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're clearly not.
The thief was in there too. I forget what his name is.
Yeah.
He plays
Jaimin Hansu.
Thief and, so that was really cool to see him appear in another thing.
And that was the thing that I thought the movie did pretty well, is just tie a lot of things together, because I figured it was going to be kind of clunky introducing a new character like kind of retroactively, which is always a little hard to do. I thought they might.
You're stepping in some pretty rough waters when you do that.
I thought it might be kind of shoehorned in, and it was all pretty seamless. But I thought that was kind of my biggest issue with the movie, is that it kind of just seemed like the point of the movie was to kind of introduce her and like kind of quickly like get her up to power and up to speed and like and get ready. It felt more like which a lot of people say about a lot of Marvel movies, but it felt more like an episode than like a standalone movie.
Yeah, which I can see that. Yeah, definitely.
I don't mind that too much myself because I'm a big fan of like seeing all the movies and everything. But like if you were just going in there trying to see a movie, like you'd see like, okay, like, what the hell's going on? And this is really strange. And then my only other complaint, I thought they showed how Fury lost his eye, was getting scratched by the like alien cat. I thought that was pretty stupid. And I thought it was a little on the nose at the end when he was like typing in his like 1990 Word doc. It's like the Avengers Initiative, and like, oh, he saw it on the plane. He's like, oh, we're gonna call him the Avengers. Like, okay, like a little much.
Yeah,
just a little much.
Yeah, I didn't like that part either. I thought it was really dumb.
I just think they've been doing that recently. It reminded me of in Solo when he's like, yo, what's your last name? He's like, oh, I don't have one.
Okay, comparison.
So I'm like, a little much, guys. Like, just
that's a great comparison.
Just a little
that's
too
really
much.
Good.
Like Disney, we're not idiots. Like, you don't need to slap us over the head with everything. Like, we got it. All right, like, come on.
Yeah, I was also not a fan of how he got his eye scratched because not a fan. Because I mean, your retinas could get scratched by an eye too, but even if it was just like an intergalactic cat, and hey, maybe that cat might have crazy like degenerative properties as the claws touch the skin, but you wouldn't need a freaking eye patch for that. Probably not.
Well, I just thought it was like a badass thing about Fury, and then they like played it for comedy. I was like, of all the things to play for comedy, I don't know if that's what I would have chose. I agree. Because we've been teased through a bunch of movies, like, oh, Fury lost his eye. Like, he never talks about how it happened. Like, blah blah blah. That'd be like something badass. But it was a little
lame.
On the other hand, I thought, though, the structure was weird, how they kind of like introduced her character like through like the flashbacks and like piecing her memories together, which was an interesting like kind of different way to do it. Part of me wishes they kind of would have done it just like straight through, like actually showed her like as a kid and like struggling with sexism and whatnot. I think we would have had a bit more payoff at the end when they kind of did that montage of her like getting back up after like falling or whatever. Which was cool. It was a cool idea, but also it was like we didn't even like really see any of that. We saw like that scene with her in the training for like it was like a 2-minute scene, and now they're like referencing it later. I'm like, okay, like whatever. But I know they clearly felt the need to. They focused much more on like the Kree Skrull thing, which I found interesting, so I was okay with it. But I kind of wish they would maybe focus more on her as a character. But
my friend said something to the degree of like, just ignore the first 40 minutes of the movie and then you can enjoy the movie.
Yeah, it really was. A lot of that setup didn't have a whole lot to do with her character. And I thought some of the like 90s references were a bit on the nose. And
I'm okay with the 90s references. I'm okay with it, but I was expecting more. It was just the blockbusters scene and then just making the phone work with the Game Boy, and that was it.
Yeah, and some of the musical choices, like obviously those were very nice, but also kind of weird because the timeline of it, like she was like more of an 80s kid because she had like GNR shirt on and like and some different stuff like back in like the flashbacks. So because she got, if you look at the timeline, she like got abducted or whatever. That was like late 80s. But then like the movie was set in the 90s, so they had like all the like 90s references, but like she wouldn't really like get them because she wasn't there, which I thought was a little weird.
In that degree, it's probably the movie probably just yada yada it just to like, hey, look at this. A touch.
But I thought the all the stuff in her friend's house out down there in the swamp, I thought was really cool. Like when her little kid was like showing her off. That was really well done and kind of helped so like make her more likable and kind of cement her character. So overall, it did what it needed to do, tied up things that needed to be tied in and tied up and whatnot. But like I said, I wish it would have stood a little bit more by itself, but that's kind of how it is. It's like 20 in now, we're like 22, 23, movies in now, like that's going to happen. So,
did you like the female empowerment overtones? What did you feel about that?
Hell yeah, why not? There's, I think there should be more of that. And like I've always kind of thought that Black Widow's been a little underserved in the Marvel in the MCU. She had a lot to do in Winter Soldier, I guess. That was kind of her movie as much as it was anyone else's. But no, I was fine with it. Like a lot of it, I put it less on that aspect of it, just the movie. Some of it was like a little on the nose, like the dude on the like motorcycle who was just like blatantly like sexist. I'm just like, okay, like, sure. This is like, all right. Like, I know we're like trying to make a point here and I totally understand it and get it, but like it was just like so like almost like cartoony villainy, like how like the like sexist dudes in the movie, like that guy, and then the dude in like her flashbacks in the bar is like, you know what, it's called a cockpit, right? I'm like, yeah, good one, dude. Like, okay.
Whoa, how did you think the female empowerment overtones compared to like Wonder Woman?
I never saw Wonder Woman, so I have no idea.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep, I totally missed that.
Never mind then.
I know people really liked Wonder Woman as a movie, so that's good. I don't know if one was. My only complaints with it were just kind of the same complaints with the movie. It was just like a little bit on the nose, like a little over the top. It's like, yeah, see, these guys are dicks and they're sexist. I'm like, yeah, like we get that. Like you could maybe show that a little more like subtly than like this like terribly like stupid sexist joke. I'm like, oh, whatever. Sometimes you got to beat people over the head with stuff, Nick. You know, that's how it goes. But yeah, and my only other question as far as that movie is how powerful is she? Like, she kind of once her like restraints were off, seemed pretty unstoppable. Like, basically took like 20, like over 20, a bunch more than that, like Kree nukes, and just kind of like, pushed them back, and then like flew through like a dreadnought ship. It was just like, what up? So that's gonna be interesting. I kind of wish they would have gone a little bit more into her powers. Like it makes sense. I like that they made it that she her power comes from the Tesseract, which I think is really cool because we've seen that with a bunch of other characters in the MCU.
Sure.
So that makes sense, like chronologically and like canonically and everything. But I'm not entirely sure what she does. She's just like pure energy, I guess. Like I wasn't totally sure.
Her main thing is energy absorption.
Right. Kind of like Black Panther's suit, you know, yeah, Black Panther where he gets hit and he like pulses it off.
It can be maybe assumed that the Kree ships were probably shooting blasts of pure energy of some form, because then she can absorb that, and then she gets stronger, much like the Hulk gets stronger when he gets angrier. Mm-hmm. I'm not like you said, they didn't really discuss like how strong she is, and it's also her power grows exponentially depending on how much energy she absorbs. But again, the movie didn't explain it that well. In terms of like comic book stuff, she's pretty strong, but there's definitely way stronger Avengers. She's probably, I think, like a B class Avenger.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they make it like that, or along with the whole like female empowerment and like her character, if they make her like stronger. Because I've like listened to like different like videos and like her stuff that like Thor should still be like way stronger than her. But
we'll see in 2019.
Yeah, we'll see it. We'll see if that happens. But yeah. So yeah, so that was Captain Marvel. Let's transition more into what we see here with Endgame. I don't know. I think a lot of people are gonna die. I don't think they're gonna pull any punches. They went there with Infinity War. It was because that was kind of my, not worry per se, but thought going into Infinity War is like, are they going to make this dark? Are they going to make this like gritty? Like, is this going to be like intense as it should be? And they went there. Like it was.
Yeah, sure.
They definitely did. And I don't think this is gonna. If you look at the tones of the trailers and everything, this is gonna be no different.
I think the a real interesting thing to watch specifically is since they went with a such an overkill, if you will, pun intended, I suppose. I'm thinking if they're going to kind of just say, we killed a bunch of people in Infinity War, so let's bring the gang back together. Like, bad things happen, but the heroes will rise and stuff like that. Or will they go, yeah, all these people died, yep, more people are gonna die. We're gonna like steer into it more. So I'm more interested if how that's gonna pan out.
I think it's gonna be more of the latter. Honestly, I think the folk that got dusted will be undusted towards the end of the movie. I think that they're really gonna give this movie to the OG cast, really focus on them because it's probably gonna be a goodbye to most, if not all of them. So I think
I would like that.
I think the undusting will occur towards the end. However they go about that. But yeah, and I want them from the vibes of the trailers. It seems like there's a lot of I guess we don't know how much of the movie this will actually be, but like them, like you ever saw the HBO show The Leftovers?
No.
Which it's kind of similar to the Snapping, only not quite like obviously like with Thanos, but like people like half the population just like disappears, and the show is like basically all about like how the world like goes on and how they deal with it. And I think it only went one season, but it was pretty like well-renowned show. I only saw a couple episodes of it, but that's kind of the vibes I'm getting. Like it's like them and like doing these little like support group rooms, and it's like showing like cities that are like half empty, obviously.
Yeah.
Like I wonder how much of the movie is going to be that, like them sitting around, like kind of lamenting what happened and talking about it, or maybe that's just they're just showing that in the trailers because they don't want to like spoil anything, obviously. So they're just going to show that part of it. But I'm curious to see how long that will go.
I think a good amount of time will have passed of
I agree.
Situation happening though.
That's the vibe I'm getting from the trailers. It didn't look like it it like just happened. Yeah, I think there seems. I mean, everyone had time to change their haircuts and stuff. So I mean, that's.
However, it does look like throughout the movie they will have multiple bouts with Thanos, though. It does look like they're gonna have.
I don't think there's one big bad fight. I think there's gonna be, because you see some of the fight scenes that you see in the trailers, they're all clearly in different locations. So it'll be really interesting to see how this all works, and I'm not even gonna guess as to how they go about undusting people. So whether it's time travel, quantum realm type shit, it could be all sorts of stuff. So I'm not even gonna try to guess it at what that's gonna be. But there's a lot of theories out there. So I don't know, and I kind of like. I don't know. There's people that like delve super deep in the trailers and like try to figure out what's gonna happen. Like at this point, I kind of just want to just wait and see what happens. Honestly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have a theory about Soul Gem.
Yeah,
whichever
whichever
one Thanos killed Gamora.
Is that the blue one, purple one? I don't remember, but
yellow orangish one. It's for me, it's hard to remember which stones is which because it's different in the movies and it's different in the comic book. So yeah, whatever. My theory is that they're going to have to somehow get that back. So the stone will somehow require another sacrifice to use it.
Ooh.
I think that. Yeah, I think Cap will sacrifice himself for the greater good for that.
That seems the ending. Yeah, there's a theory like that, like the Soul Stone, like everyone who's been like snapped is like inside of it, essentially, and like they can like be released to like if it gets destroyed and stuff. So yeah, and I definitely see Cap going out in some sort of blaze of glory self-sacrifice.
It'd be a good ending for him.
Exactly, yeah, that fits his character. I could also maybe see that with Iron Man, kind of.
I can see that too.
He tried to do that in Avengers. And that was kind of a huge like character like shift for him in that movie, and you could see that coming back around.
I can definitely. I think it'll be, if that theory does happen, it'll probably be Cap or Stark
or both. And I think that's just the general theme of the movie. I think it's going to be is the old heads sacrificing themselves for the new to undo the snap and just for the people that are gone. Because it makes sense for their characters, and it makes sense when you tie in real life stuff. So and the other thing I want to talk about is just where we see Marvel going after this, which is really interesting. I'm trying to think. I know Spider-Man: Far From Home is confirmed after this. I know Black Panther 2 is happening. I don't know what else. Doctor Strange 2 and Guardians 3. James Gunn back for that now. So I think that'll be interesting how they
Captain Marvel will be doing
I'm
a couple
sure,
movies.
yeah, of course. How it will how the new team will kind of group together, because you got to think, assuming that there's nobody left or from the OG team, or maybe if they are, they're just kind of bit players here and there. I mean, you got Spidey, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, and the Guardians, right? Like that's the crew that's
yeah.
At least some of the crew that's still going to be around. Maybe that's the other thing I was thinking. Maybe not all the Guardians make it, which is an interesting,
very true,
interesting prospect.
Well, there's a real easy answer for that of where Marvel will go next, and that's mutants.
Oh God, yeah, that's the thing I didn't even think about. That they have that coming down.
That's the real end game.
Here's the question: do you think they address that at all in this movie, or do you think that this movie was too far along before all the X-Men shit was confirmed?
If I could have my dream end game thing to happen, it'd be that end credit scene, people unlock their X gene, and then they like end credit scene, they'll say the word mutant. That'd be my like, yep. I'd get a huge boner if I heard that.
That would be really cool. As in, like the X-Men.
I do think though that it's too late though.
Yeah, because a lot of that it had been rumored for a long time, but I think it got finalized. Oh, that wasn't that long ago.
Potentially, they could have secretly done a reshoot, which wouldn't be that difficult.
No,
but who knows?
And I think if it does happen, it would just be one of the end credit scenes. And so you're saying that they discovered the mutant gene. So basically, like in this universe, like the X-Men don't even like mutants, like quote unquote, don't even exist until this point. That's how they would do it. As far as like that's a smart move. Yeah,
I think I've read and seen people think that once Avengers save the other half of the population, they'll come back with their X gene awakened for those that have it.
That makes sense, actually. That's a really interesting way to kind of kind of tie it in, because if something must happen if a bunch of people get undusted.
It's like dangling. It's low fruit right there. It's right there.
It's just sitting there. They just got to do it. No, that's a great point.
The thing I want the most, though, I want a good fucking Doctor Doom.
Yeah, that would be nice. I saw, I was on Reddit or somewhere. They were doing different, like fan casting for Fantastic Four and new X-Men. And that was really I forget who all was in. No, Fantastic Four casting looked really interesting. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as a Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Right.
But yeah,
that would be hilarious if Chris Evans is like, nah, I'm done with Captain America, but then went back to be the Human Torch.
To the Torch, baby. Let's go. That would be hilarious. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it's an interesting time for those of us that have been there from the beginning with the MCU. It's even though like you can see it coming, like I know that people are gonna. I just have a feeling they're still gonna find a way to make it emotional and gut wrenching, and yeah,
I hope so.
And I think, and then geez, what was the runtime? It got released like 3 hours and change. Some people are complaining about it. I'm like, really happy. Let's go. Why mess around? Let's do it. You know, that was a great sign.
Yeah, it should be that goddamn long. As much as I do and don't like that, it should be that long.
There's a lot of shit to do, a lot of shit to get together. So yeah, I 100% agree. But speaking of
the whole AMC thing where they have like tickets for every single Marvel movie,
God, I saw that.
Like 52 hours long or something like that.
God, if only. I'm gonna do a couple rewatches. I've yet to see Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm gonna watch that, and then I'll definitely rewatch Infinity War and maybe a couple others to kind of get ready.
I rewatched Infinity War. I think like Monday, and that was the first time I watched it.
I haven't seen this in theaters.
It surprisingly holds up pretty well.
Yeah, it's interesting how. That's the other thing I was kind of thinking about is how these movies, the Infinity War Endgame, duo will stand, years down the road as like standalone movies, because obviously it's different when you're in the moment and you're in the theater and it's like this is what everyone's been like building up to. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Same with a lot of the Marvel movies. Like I said, some of them kind of seem like more episodes than standalone movies, and I think it'll be interesting to see how they stand the test of time. But that will come later. Anyway, speaking of people dying and things happening, there's another large, I would say basically like the TV equivalent of the Marvel kind of like must-see event watching.
That's fair.
That's a little thing called Game of Thrones. Final season beginning here in April as well. I mean, that's a couple. It's like 2 weeks away, I think. Isn't it like 16th, 15th, whatever that Sunday is?
It's like next week.
Yeah, dude. Oh, speaking of not ready, man, that is going to be interesting. And just
they're not releasing all the episodes at once, are they?
No. It's weekly. However, there's only 6 episodes, 6 or 7, but they're like long. An hour and a half long. Yeah. Especially we're getting like 6 like decent like little movies, which is insane. Yeah. My mind is you just don't even know. Do you know they're gonna have the production value is just gonna be unbelievable. They're gonna pour so much money into it, and my God, yeah. I don't know if this is gonna be something else. We talk about, oh man, some of our favorite superheroes in Marvel are gonna die. Game of Thrones, literally anything can happen, man. There are no rules, and that's kind of the what people love first about the books, but especially about the TV show as it's caught on popularity, is how it, they go against a lot of like standard like fantasy tropes, where like the good guy does this, and they're like, yeah, bad things happen, but they come back and they win, and the bad guys get like what's coming to them. And if you've watched Game of Thrones, you know they do not really follow those standard story arcs.
Not really.
People die that you really like, people that you don't like win. A lot of unexpected things happen. People are just overall terrible. It's gonna be a crazy time. One thing I have heard that I think will get you excited. Obviously, if you've seen the trailers, there's clearly gonna be a big battle at Winterfell against the Night King.
I actually haven't seen any trailers.
Any trailers? Ooh, good. They're actually really they're really like you can't tell a whole lot from them. They did a really good job. But like obviously, like they're gonna have a battle of Winterfell, obviously.
Probably,
because everyone's at the end of season 7. That's where everyone's going to help kind of be ready for the Night King. But the guy who's directing that episode is the guy who's directed all the big battle sequences previously in the show. So we're talking like Battle of Castle Black,
okay,
Battle of the Bastards,
good hands.
Et cetera. So that's going to be intense. And I saw an interview with that director and I think Benioff and Weiss, the two like main showrunners. And guess which famous battle from movies and TV that they've been studying and trying to kind of glean and take notes from.
My first thought was the Battle of Gettysburg.
Battle of Helm's Deep, dude.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
that's a good one,
and that's smart because that movie's old as hell. But you go back and watch that shit is still
it's so fucking
and
good.
Amazing as it was back in whatever that was, 2000.
I love that trilogy.
Whatever, yeah, dude. Yeah, so if we're gonna get Battle of Helm's Deep vibes with some Game of Thrones, like, let's go, dude. Let's go. And yeah, the same with Marvel. How these things create a whole bunch of different theories. There's all sorts of stuff out there. Lot of different theories. Obviously, we know now that Jon's a Targaryen. That's been a theory for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long-running theory.
Still even in the books, and then obviously once the movie passed that, like Tower of Joy and all that was all confirmed. That was a huge deal. But there's a lot of other. I still have the Valonqar theory, like the prince that was promised. Song of Ice and Fire, is that Jon himself because he's Targaryen and Stark? Is it Jon and Dany together? There's still different prophecies about people think that Jaime's going to kill Cersei because that's a theory and part of one of the prophecies in the books. There's a lot going on, and the only thing that we know for sure with Game of Thrones, it's not going to be whatever you expect. So we can see.
Yeah.
There's other crazy theories that Bran is the Night King. That's the.
Oh shit.
Yeah. There's all sorts of. Bran himself is just kind of a big plot, like.
He's a big question mark
because he basically has like the internet. Like he basically just like can know everything, which is like kind of a plot hole. Like it's just like so basically he could just like Google. Because at the end of season 7, he was like, "Oh, Sam was there." He's like, "Oh no, their marriage was annulled, like, and they got married." He's like, "Oh really?" He's like, "Can you see that?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, let me check." "Oh shit, yep, you're right. There they are." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Dude,
he can basically do whatever.
And Bran brought Freakazoid to the battle. Oh my god.
Yeah, dude, like it's that's that's one thing that people who are big into the books have actually criticized the show with. And I read the first like 4 books, and I didn't read the 5th. I just got busy with like school and stuff. But the show has done. They're not super happy with how the show has handled like some of the more like magical, fantastical parts of the series. Which I understand because the way that they kind of yada yada like Bran becoming the Three-Eyed Raven, like he's basically not in the show for a whole season.
He was just like up there. I didn't like that
at the Fist of the First Men with the Tree Dude, and they just kind of showed him like do some flashbacks that were helpful to like move the story and whatnot, like hold the door, etc., etc. But then basically they were just like, and yep, he's got it now, and I was just like, oh, okay,
he's a magic man.
Yeah, he's just a magic creepy dude. But also they just like basically haven't shown like Ghost like hardly at all, which pisses me off because that's my favorite character.
Oh yeah,
I love the direwolves. And the direwolves in the books, there's a lot more like basically how Bran's a warg. In the books, like basically all of the Starks have at least some warging abilities with their own wolf. So like Jon can like in certain situations like warg into Ghost, and Arya can do like Nymeria, and etc. etc. And they kind of just I get why they do that because it's a TV show and it's really hard.
There's already a lot of shit going on.
And it's hard to do that, and it's just a giant story. And I think the show is at its best when it's character driven. When there's people just like in rooms talking. The battles are like awesome. Obviously, like, Battle of the Bastards is like a crowning like television achievement. But I think personally, the show's at its best when the characters they just absolutely knocked it out of the park with some of the acting in this show is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
and
they did.
When they able to put people in rooms and just let them go off like that. That's part of some of the best parts of the show. So I get that, but some people are frustrated with that. And me personally was a little frustrated with the last season. I kind of just felt like they were rushing things a little bit. And
dude, that whole last season was a blur to me.
Yeah, and the plot was a little questionable. Like how their idea was that we're gonna go steal a White Walker and bring it south. Like it's like that's not the greatest idea I've ever heard. That was they kind of just and just a lot has been made of how the show was at such a slow, like methodical, like pace. Like it took a while for people to get different places. Like when like Jaime and
it's
Brienne
a transitional season, that's for sure.
Episode 7, it's like everyone had fast travel. Like it was a little it was a little rushed in that regard, which kind of bothered me. But also I get it. Like they gotta get this moving. They knew that season 8 was going to be the last one, and also Benioff and Weiss have Star Wars to go make, so they got they got to get moving on. Which that'll be interesting. That's a whole nother discussion. But anyway, I just want to get a couple of thoughts from you on Game of Thrones. Do you have a favorite character in the show?
I have 2, which was that kind of stems off of a question. If you were able to save one character for sure to make it through the end, who would it be?
Oh God.
Doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite.
Yeah.
Could be someone you think deserves it the most.
Who would I save? That's a great question. It's people that I love, but I also think like them dying would like fit their character and fit like their arc. Like my first thought would be Jon, but I could like him doing like something sacrificial at the end would totally fit his character and how like he's had a lot of issues since he was resurrected by the Red Witch, like not feeling like feeling really weird about being back alive and like kind of being like I don't know if I deserve this like second
this
chance.
Is not natural.
Yeah, this ain't cool. So him dying actually kind of makes sense. So I don't want to save him per se. God, that is a tough one, man.
It could also be who you think is the most deserving to survive, or some other
most deserving.
reason.
I don't know. I would hate to see Sansa die because her like what she's had to go through already is like pretty fucking intense. And her, I loved her arc from like kind of prissy, like gullible girl to like cold-hearted, like serious, like
strong
commander leader. Yeah, has been really cool. I would like to see her make it and kind of help shape the.
On the topic of Sansa, real quick. I forget the actress's name.
Sophie Turner.
I shouldn't know it. But yeah. Do you find her attractive?
Yes, I sure do. I have.
Okay.
I have for a while. She's quite nice.
I do too. However, I remember a long time ago talking to Patrick about finding Sansa the actress attractive. He doesn't find her attractive, but I know Miranda kind of said that, well, Sansa's kind of around our age, so we kind of grew up with her, so that kind of makes sense.
Oh, that was the thing, man. I was watching clips and like trying to get caught up on the season. Oh my gosh, dude! You go back to season 1. There's little babies, little baby children.
Yes,
it's unbelievable.
Yes, they are.
It is wild. Yeah, and I was gotta be careful with that because I'm like, am I allowed to like her? I had that with Stranger Things. What's her name? The chick from Stranger Things. I was like,
the teenage girl.
I was like, I don't know how old you are, so we're gonna not talk about
you in this way. I don't remember either, but I do remember Googling her and seeing how old she was.
Yeah, I think she's like actually like our age.
Yeah, I think she's a little bit older than us.
I was like, oh, thank God. But yeah, that's always that's always an interesting one. But yeah, I don't even know. Like, I just feel wrong like picking that because I just want everything to be completely open and on the table. I've actually learned like Jamie's one of my favorite characters.
I fucking love Jamie.
But him dying would be, I think, also would kind of fit his character, like him, like sacrificing for like a good cause after like a lot of the awful shit that he's done.
He's such a well-written character.
Dude, it's
like
great.
His ups and downs are
his
very
transition
interesting.
I think is probably some of the best parts of the show. I don't know. I love Tyrion. Though I thought he kind of got short.
Tyrion's a badass too. How do you not like Peter Dinklage?
He didn't do a whole lot. It didn't come out too great. Some of the actually, I'm gonna go with some of the side people that I really love. I love Bronn. I'd like to see. I'd like to see Bronn make it.
I saw a meme post today about like I don't care if he lives or if he dies. Bronn better get his motherfucking castle.
That's right, man. He's been working hard for it. My God, that's my dude. Yeah, no, I want Bronn. I love Tormund. I'd love to see him make it. I highly doubt it though. That's I think a lot of my favorite side characters are gonna. I love Davos. I'd love to see him make it. Don't think it's gonna happen.
He is tied for my favorite character. I fucking love the Onion Knight. He's a badass.
Davos is amazing. Jorah's, I like him. He's definitely gonna die. I love Brienne.
Probably.
I think Brienne's going down. I just think a lot of people are gonna die, dude. I don't know. Who do you, I'm going to turn around to you because I'm awful at answering that great question. I just want to say nobody because the thing I love about the show is that everything's on the board, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'll say that my two favorite characters are the motherfucking Onion Knight.
Yeah, baby.
Love me some Sir Davos. He's just a loyal dude.
Yeah,
like,
and he's just like
on your side. He's gonna go through thick and thin for you.
Him introducing when they meet Dany at Dragonstone for the first time and they're like she's like has all of her like crazy titles. This is Jon Snow. He's a cool guy. That was just perfect.
Even the face of the motherfucking Dragon Queen. Yeah. Davos will say, "This is my dude. Yeah, fuck you. This is my guy.
Yeah, this guy's the shit." Yeah, I don't know. I love Varys too. Actually,
my other favorite
character. I fucking love Varys.
I have found no one. I haven't really looked too much on the internet, but I know no one that likes this character really that much. I fucking love Reek.
Really? Everyone hates him.
I love him.
Everyone hates him.
I mean,
yeah, he's got a part to play. He kind of. I think he might have kicked Reek to the side for good at the end there.
Yeah, like obviously I don't like him before he became Reek, but when he was Reek, I fucking loved him.
He's just goofy, man. Yeah, that was a crazy arc. God, I'm so the more we talk, I'm thinking of more characters that I love. Lyanna Mormont, the little girl, love her. She's amazing.
Oh, Bear Island girl.
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing.
Or wait,
she better not die.
Yeah,
that's my pick.
She's cool.
She's too cool and young and cute. No, she needs to live. Lyanna Mormont dies, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, no, she needs to live. I want Ghost to live. Because I think him and Nymeria are the only freaking direwolves left. And
yeah.
Oh man, I love Varys too. He's so cool.
The actor just is like so good with
it. His like mannerisms. He's so good. Yeah, you would think. Yeah, you'd think maybe some of those guys are the ones that kind of live like the non-fighters. That
potentially,
might make it, still.
Yeah, they'll either like go in hiding or side with the winner.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's just crazy how. So I read the books. I started reading the books before I had heard that the show was gonna happen. I was like, oh, this is like cool, like kind of badass like fantasy show. Like, I'll try these. I'll try these out. I'll try out this series. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I was also like, this is never gonna work. Like people aren't. This is, as much as it is kind of a almost like soap opera-y with like, oh, who rules the throne, and there's a lot of like politics and intrigue. At the end, it is still a very like hard fantasy series.
Yeah,
and I was like, there's no way this is gonna catch on, because this kind of stuff, like outside of Lord of the Rings, like what other like hard fantasy stuff that has become like this popular, like just part of mainstream culture like that, is just rare. So it's the fact that they've made this happen and it's as popular it is, I think, is a testament to just how great the series is, how well they did as a show, but also that it's almost like legitimized the genre. I feel like because you've seen way more stuff like get made now that's more in the ilk. Like, I mean, like the Witcher Netflix series is happening. There's no way in hell that happens without Game of Thrones, in my opinion.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I just give it a lot of credit for.
God damn. Yeah. Season 1 of Game of Thrones premiered on April 17th, 2011.
Jesus Christ. That's amazing. I can't even.
That was a long time ago.
It doesn't even compute. Well, the wild thing about it is they made a pilot. That was really expensive, and they completely canned it and like recast like half the people and made a new one. So like kudos to HBO for like sticking with it and like believing in it and really putting everything into it. And God, it's paid off for them. They're doing pretty good now.
There aren't too many other TV shows I can think of off the top of my head, unlike maybe The Sopranos, that have reached this critically acclaimed mainstream.
Yeah, the mainstream, but also on this level of like production value and everything. I think it's just unprecedented. And the thing that I'm really curious about is Marvel obviously isn't going anywhere. Like it's going to be shifting into a new phase. So I'm curious to see how it continues to draw as far as like box office and just how much it stays in the lexicon. But there's going to be a huge vacuum in TV after Game of Thrones. Like just the way that TV's changed now, like we don't like appointment viewing really isn't a thing. Like everyone streams now, and Game of Thrones is like outside of the only other show I've done this with, I think in my life, to be honest, is the last season of How I Met Your Mother. I watched like as it came out.
Yeah.
But other than that, dude, like I don't know if I've ever like really done this with a show. Like Sundays, like, hey, this is going to be on. Like we're sitting down and we're like doing this, and it's gonna be really interesting to see if another show can kind of take that mantle as like, hey, us as like a freaking society, like this is what we do on blank nights. Like this comes out and we watch it together and we discuss it for a week before the next episode. Like it's gonna be really interesting to see if that happens, and if it does, what that show is gonna be.
Yeah, just knowing that you and probably like maybe like 1 million people at the same time are watching it.
I would love to see what the numbers are. I couldn't even guess.
Oh yeah. That information is always really, really cool to watch.
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing though. When season 8 starts, there's probably going to be a large amount of free trial HBO accounts.
Oh yeah, that a lot of. That's the thing. I was just talking to some friends we made out here, and I was like, so last season 7, I went to my buddy Naveed's house. He had a big Game of Thrones watch party in his basement. He's got a big old TV. He's got a sick man cave, and it was awesome. And I was like, man, like I don't have HBO. Like I'm gonna have to like ask him for his login or like do a free login and stuff. But she's telling me there's a bar here in Denver that's gonna do Game of Thrones watch party.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
big
cool.
Huge TV screen, like full
community event. That's cool.
Community event, like themed drinks and food and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, I think I'm just gonna go with that. That sounds awesome. Because that's honestly the thing.
I think I'll actually pay for a subscription. Just because it is the last season, and I wouldn't. They've earned it, so I'll throw money their way.
Yeah. Me and my dad, we have every single season on Blu-ray. We bought on box set, so I'm looking forward to having that all. And it's just one of those things that you can't wait. I think about this sometimes. It's kind of sappy, but when I have kids, like, what am I gonna like? What seminal like pieces of like art am I gonna be like? Hey, like you should. Like, this meant a lot to me. I want to like pass that on, like Star Wars, etc., etc. It'll be an interesting day when I decide that he or she is old enough to watch Game of Thrones. And, like plop down the fucking 8-season boxes. I'm like, all right, have fun. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, I depending on how good your kid is, may or may not be a fun time to watch episode 1, seeing Jaime and Tyrion walk out with a bunch of bimbos.
Yeah, no, it's definitely they have to be older because it's a pretty or
that one girl that flashes her hooch.
Well, season 1
on that character, whatever.
Episode 1, Jaime is banging Cersei in the tower. and shoves
there's
little baby Bran out the window. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. So yeah, that'll be later. That'll be later in little Benny Jr.'s life that he's gonna get.
My son is called incest.
Yeah, it's like, oh, all right. But
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's wild. And the interesting thing is seeing all these other TV providers like trying to find their like Game of Thrones. Like Amazon has the Lord of the Rings series coming out. Like that they want to just step right in and be that thing. And
super nervous about that.
Dude, I know. I like the idea, like young Aragorn and the Rangers. Like, there's a lot there as far as like how that goes, like how the Rangers came to be and how they no longer how they kind of are gone by the time the actual Lord of the Rings series starts. Like, I don't know. I just think we got to really enjoy it because stuff like this doesn't come around that often.
Oh no.
No, and like I was saying before, I think the reason why I'm kind of excited to go to this bar and do this as a community is that's like honestly the best part. When I think about watching Endgame, like opening night, I'm most excited, just like the vibe in the theater. You know what I mean? Like that's
all these fucking nerds with me,
just ready to go. Like just the excitement behind it. Like in Infinity War, some people get mad when people like clap and like cheer during movies. Like overall, I like it is kind of annoying, but like opening night for like a Marvel movie, that's just like it's just a different thing. And like, God, I still get chills when one, it's just an amazing part of the movie, but also just remembering that night in the theater when Thor arrives at Wakanda, like comes down and like saves him, comes down on the freaking rainbow bridge from his axe, and like the place lost its shit, dude. Like it was insane. Like people were just started freaking out, and I just can't wait. There's gonna be another moment or two or three coming down the pipe, not only in Endgame, but in Game of Thrones. It's like, man, that's just that pure, like unadulterated, just like joy that just like pours out of you, just like having it as a communal thing, I think is just heightens the experience. So
it's an incredibly raw emotion that you can't really replicate.
Yeah, the first time you don't know what's happening, and it's something you care deeply. That's a great feeling. I'm getting pumped just thinking about it right now, man. I'm ready.
Yeah,
to
me
go.
too. I'll be completely honest. Like, I've been kind of like, Game of Thrones last season. Yeah, that'll be cool to watch. And same thing with Endgame. Like, that'll be cool to watch. And after I watched Infinity War again, and even just talking about Game of Thrones, I'm getting pretty pumped to rewatch that shit again.
Yeah, you gotta. Another thing I'll tell people. So there's a website called The Ringer. They do mainly like sports and pop culture and stuff, but they have a podcast called Binge Mode where they go and they have an hour-long podcast for every single episode of Game of Thrones, which is insane.
Wow.
I went through, when I did a rewatch a while ago, I went back through and it was amazing. I learned a lot about it. They're super knowledgeable about the books and everything. But that's a long thing. Right now, they're counting down the top 25 moments of the show. It's on their YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to go back and kind of catch up on everything and kind of see where we were at. So I highly recommend that. You want to get pumped and you kind of get your mind right for Game of Thrones. Highly recommend going and checking that out because it's been really helpful. Sure. And they've had stuff like, I was like, oh my God, like some of the early season stuff, like I like totally even like forgot about that. Like it's wild how many like just awesome moments there have been in that show. And the recap has been extremely helpful. So
we'll probably do that after this.
I highly recommend it, my man. I highly recommend it. And then I went down on a YouTube rabbit hole, was just like watching like cool clips from the show. And I was just like, here we go. But my only regret, especially with Marvel, is that I can't watch it with you because we've saw so many Marvel movies together going back, and it would be cool to kind of finish out this thing together. But I'm actually going to be in Oregon when it comes out for a wedding.
Oh shit!
So because we were actually thinking about maybe I come back for the weekend and we go and do it, but I'm not going to be.
So you're not going to watch it over the weekend then?
I don't know what we're doing, so. What actually? I should find out what that exact day comes out. Because if we're there and if it doesn't come out the night of the wedding, I'll probably just go like with my cousins and stuff. But
Endgame comes out on my birthday, the 26th or 25th if you're seeing it the night before.
And that's the 25th. Ooh.
Thursday, I think.
Ooh, no, actually.
It's usually
okay, great.
Thursday.
Yeah, they have Thursday late night at Thursday showing. Oh, that we leave the next day. So okay, never mind. We're good. I can see it.
Okay, there you go.
All right, cool. We're Gucci then.
If you can get a ticket, though, that is.
Yeah, we got to look at that. Because holy shit, yeah, apparently that's gonna be a issue. But Yeah, man. Any final thoughts on this month we got coming up before we sign off with people here?
Oh god, there's just way too much damn shit for everyone. For any facet of anyone that's interested in culture, which now culture
anyone who
in,
likes fun things. Like
times.
honestly, dude, like April's a crazy month for sports, dude. Like there's just so much. And
yeah. There's April's a happening month. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, man. I say enjoy it, and enjoy it with people that enjoy it as much as you do, because that's half the fun to me, is being around like-minded people who care about whatever it is just as much as you do, because that's just going to heighten the experience, and it'll be something you don't forget. Like I still have vivid memories, dude, of us going and seeing the first Avengers. Like
you know
what I mean? Like that was a seminal like moment.
I won't forget the watching it at midnight and then going to school the next day and being super tired in the library and staring down on the magazine that was an ad for that movie and just like, that was a good movie. And just staring at it for like 15 minutes.
100%. I remember that. That and us waiting at GameStop for Skyrim as well. I remember that as well. That was a big day.
Sequence show choir fest.
That was a good time. All right, guys. Well, Nick, has been great catching up with you, talking about this stuff. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on all this as it goes on. We might do maybe a post game with the pod if we got things to talk about. I'm sure there's so much of that content. And I'm always like, I don't know if we have any like terribly like unique or interesting thoughts about it, but if we feel inclined to, we might hop on and talk about it. But
absolutely.
But other than that, man, again, folks, thanks for listening to us. We will be back later with more episodes of the Flick Your Bick podcast here on the network. Until next time, have a marvelous day. Ooh, see what I did there? Ooh, Marvel. Yeah, that's how you end the podcast right there. That's juicy.
You know what I should do? I should, when next Elder Scrolls come out, I should wear a sequence vest and buy it.
It just seems right, Like, it would be wrong otherwise. I mean, I don't know if GameStop will exist by then, but just go stand out. We just go stand where the one in Council Bluffs used to be and just be like, in remembrance, they have a candle.
Remember us, fucks?
Yeah, remember this, boys? Where's my Skyrim? Oh, man. Too funny.